Hey, everybody.
Hey, Gina. Kevin, how y'all doing?
Hello.
Good. Welcome, everybody, to Art-O-Ree. It is day 4 of Art-O-Ree. We've got none other than Kevin Hurley here. He is the art director for Boys Life, the one and the only. And everybody at home who's been like deviating from what people are painting each day or sketching each day because you want to draw Pokemon, well, today's your lucky day. Kevin did us a solid, and he used watercolors to paint a Pokemon. I won't reveal which one yet. Aaron knows, right?
Are there multiple Pokemon? You're telling me there's more than one Pokemon?
Are you kidding?
Yes, I am kidding. Yes.
Take a guess. Take a guess. How many there are?
Yeah,
well,
take a guess.
I'd say that all Pokemon fans are in for a treat today because Kevin is a talented artist, and I'm really excited to show off what he has done for us today. He's done very solid work for us today.
He has. Kevin, how many Pokemon are there?
I don't know the exact number. Hundreds, I'd say. And they all have their own forms. They all evolve. And so, I don't know what the number is. What is it, like 1,000 maybe? If you count all
They evolve.
States.
All I know is all. You have to catch them all. That's all I know. So just a reminder for anybody tuning in, every day at 2 p.m. Central this week, we are showing you a different way to sketch or paint. That's part of requirement 4 in the art merit badge. So if you've saved everything you've worked on this week, by the end of the week, you can show your merit badge counselor 4 different ways you've sketched a subject, rendered a subject. And if you're not doing the art merit badge, no worries. Just sketch along with us. Just paint along with us. We've given you a heads up on what supplies you need. And it's also super cool because we've set up this form where you guys have been submitting all of your awesome artwork. I think we're going to take a look at that in just a minute. So it doesn't matter how old you are. Submit a picture of what you're sketching, and we'd love to see it. It was funny yesterday, Kevin. Somebody put up, I think it's Butterfree, the Pokemon Butterfree, and Aaron thought it was just a normal butterfly. Everybody laughed.
Wow.
Yeah, Gina thought that was hysterical. So funny.
I did, yeah.
What's really great about Art-O-Ree, I think, so far, guys, is that we have gotten, like you said, so many good contributions and so many folks who I think, didn't have that much experience drawing have created these really neat pieces of art, right? I mean, they really are like cool pieces of art. It's really neat that so many people are watching and also contributing and seem to be getting something out of it. And today it's going to be, I'm sure, no different. We got a great talent here with us today who's going to show, it's watercolors today, right?
That's right. Watercolor.
As we watch your demo in a few minutes, people have been commenting along with questions, and we're really lucky because obviously we have Kevin here today, and he will be able to answer your questions after we watch this tutorial. But do you guys want to take a look at some of the artwork kids have submitted so far?
I would love to.
Yes, I'd love to see.
People are all shouting Pikachu in the comments. I think that's what they're guessing you painted, but they're in for a surprise. Ooh!
We shall see. Paige has come through with a really cool illustrated item. Is that what do you guys think that is?
It's Auto, I think, from yesterday.
Yes, I believe it is too. It looks wonderful. I love it.
Super good.
Too. I love all the texture from the whatever it's called,
pencil.
hatching. The hatching, yeah. When you make the cool texture, I love it. It's all makes it look like it's moving. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, we got it. You guys got a real artist term today. The professional says that's hatching.
He's already proving that he's smarter than the two of us.
Wow.
Look at that one.
So this came in yesterday, and we were drawing Auto running yesterday, or like he was in motion. I like this one because she did her own, she did the same general pose, but she did it with a human, which I think is maybe harder personally. She did a good job.
I think it is too. Yeah.
I love it.
That looks really good.
All the interesting angles. She's just.
And I really like
Paige. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I really like the I don't know the technical term, Kevin. Maybe it's shading, but you can see. I don't even know if if those are like eraser marks or whatever, but they look really neat, you know, kind of on her arms and a little bit on her legs there, those sort of darker shaded spots. I don't know what that is, but it looks really cool. It adds a lot of sort of depth to the work, I think.
Yeah.
She also took on the challenging fists. Remember, we were talking about how hard it is to draw hands and fists.
How difficult hands are. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, I saw somebody comment that they drew this, and this is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
That is great.
And he's saying incoming. Is that what he's saying?
Yes, he has a real style. Like I like the style of Daryl yesterday, but this George has his own style, I would say.
And the sort of motion again, it looks like he's kicking up some dirt there. He's running so fast at the bottom. That's a really cool touch.
I love the big eyes and the big head, like cartoons. You just kind of enlarge make the heads huge and the legs tiny, and it just totally takes on a cool personality. I love that red ink, and wow, we got a real cartoonist here. I'd love to see a book about that character. He looks so cool.
Yeah, is that Mario? Was that Mario up in the corner? Do you guys think?
It looked like it to me. Yeah, I'm not an expert, obviously, as you know, Gina, on cartoon characters, but it looked like it to me. And we know who that is. We all know who that is.
It's the official mascot of Boys Life, Pedro.
We work with him.
We basically work with Pedro when we're in the office. He's our mail boy, and that is very good. The purple sweater there, extremely accurate.
He's writing a letter to fan mail. What he's always.
We see that purple sweater going up and down our hallway all the time, so I can attest to that. Is a very accurate Pedro.
You could say he's been put out to pasture for a few months, right? We haven't seen him.
Yeah, that's right. But I feel like that maybe implies something else.
Wow, look at the colors.
Grizz, this is Grizz, I think, right, guys? Am I right?
Yeah. So Eric taught us how to paint this on Tuesday, and he did it with different colors, which I think these colors are awesome.
Yeah, I love the way he's tweaked the colors and made it his own a little bit. Yeah, I don't think the Grizz we showed earlier were those exact colors, but I really like it looks on my side like a purplish bluish with a green background. It looks really cool.
I love the outline. It's got nice kind of I don't know. It just looks. Just love the paint strokes. You can see where the brush was there, and it's just such a nice.
Do we know if that's acrylic or watercolor? Can we tell? Is that acrylic?
I don't know. Probably.
It looks really good.
Yeah, I love it. I'm interested to see the difference between acrylics and watercolor today. Oh wow!
Man, look at that. That's amazing.
That looks just like kind of like a Daryl stuff. That's great.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It looks just like Daryl did.
Wow, it's so cool.
And again, nailed the motion, the sort of dust that he's kicking up there. That really, the second time we've seen that, someone just nailed that really well.
Is this?
I saw that one.
Wolfgang.
Yeah. Yes, it's Otto from Wolfgang. That's good eyes, Kevin. I saw that one yesterday, and I thought for a minute, like I was gonna post it, and I thought, well, did they just crop in on Daryl's and like screenshot it or something?
I thought it was him.
She actually signed it really small, so she proved it was hers.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I believe it.
If you want to submit your own artwork, there's the picture. Look, she signed it down there at the bottom. See the CB?
Yep.
She's good.
That's great. Yeah.
I think Daryl would love to see that. Daryl would be really happy if he saw that. He would be really proud of it. So.
Yeah, we'll have to share that with him. So if you want to submit your art from today or any other day this week, but definitely today, you'll go to this URL at the bottom of the screen, go.boyslife.org/myowncomic. Yeah. So, should we get to the fun stuff?
Kevin, do we need any sort of introduction before you start? Before we roll your video here, you're going to talk about watercolor painting, right? What do we need to know before we start watching?
Yeah, watercolor. It's kind of easy to get started. All you need is a little dish of water and some brushes and one of those little simple kits that you get For school, little watercolor trays, that's really all you need. Some thick paper, maybe textured paper. The book course recommends, Merit Badge book pamphlet recommends 140-pound watercolor paper. If you don't have that, something with texture is great. If you use just kind of notebook paper, it'll buckle up. The paper will buckle, as we call, and kind of get wrinkly and stuff like that. But it's also really tough too. Watercolor is really hard. You can't make any mistakes. I mean, you make one splash of paint in a spot that you weren't planning, and you can't really paint over it like you can with acrylic. You can start over, but anyway, you'll see me during this painting. I struggled some, and I wiped it with a sponge and all that to kind of clean up some messes. But that's the fun thing about watercolor. It's random. The colors kind of bleed into each other, and that whole process is the wet on wet process is what makes it really special. And you got to embrace the random aspect of watercolor painting and just have fun, and just do another one if you don't like the one that turned out. So
Good
well,
advice.
I think one of the themes of the whole week during Art-O-Ree that we've learned is that you really can't be afraid to make mistakes. You just have to get in there and go for it and do your best, and whatever comes out is your piece of art, and that's totally great. Whatever it is, we support it, we like it, and that's totally cool. And then the good thing is you can always go back and try it again.
That's right. I think we've heard, don't quit. Just finish what you're working on, finish it, and then take another try at it if you want to. So
Right. Yeah.
right. The main part of art is to create from your heart, and your hands are part of your eyes, are part of your body, and then you're just expressing yourself, and you just create something. And what the thing that you make, sometimes it's kind of what's in your heart, and it comes out and it's special to you, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's painting or drawing. And another thing is cool, I think, just keeps the art supplies out. You'll be more likely to kind of get in there and create something. That's kind of what we do at our place. If the paints are out and if the pads are out, then people start painting and start creating stuff. So that's just really fun too.
Cool. Well, before we roll it, we're getting a lot of good comments about your beard, Kevin, and also you're gonna love this. Denise says you look like Hawkeye.
Oh wow!
That is a compliment. I know who that is,
right?
And that is a compliment.
That's cool.
From the Adventures, or I think Hawkman.
No, see, we have to explain here. Kevin is a little bit more of a DC guy, viewers, so he's going to naturally be a little biased toward the DC side. I can appreciate the Marvel Hawkeye reference. Kevin, we're talking about Hawkeye from the Avengers. Yes, it's a compliment. Just go with it. It's fine.
No, I believe you. I think at one point he probably had a little. I think he had a little beard, didn't he, during the movies? Yeah. And they look so different in all the comics, and they change over time, so that's cool too. But now Hawkman. He has got a beard. That is good.
Don't get Kevin started. Don't get him started, guys, on comments, all right?
Cut it off. Roll the video.
Hi, everybody. This is Kevin. I'm an art director for Boys Life magazine. This short video is about the watercolor requirement for the Art Merit Badge. For today's painting, I made a pencil drawing of a Squirtle, which is a light blue-green Pokemon. Now, before I start painting, I dampened the paper with a wet sponge or a towel. This allows the paints to flow from the brush and spread out onto the paper. This is called wet on wet technique. Watercolor paints will usually look transparent on paper. You mix the paint with water to create light, delicate color effects. As you work on your painting, you always work from light to dark in watercolor. For the best results, you'll want to use actual watercolor paper. The Merit Badge booklet recommends 140-pound watercolor paper. Watercolor paints come in tubes or in dry blocks called pans. You can easily blend colors in the tray, as you've seen me doing here. Don't be afraid to experiment and make colors that are different from the ones that come with your paint set. I use different sized watercolor brushes to make different lines and paint marks. Towards the end of my painting project, I wanted to add more details, such as eyes and lines on Squirtle's shell. So I let the paper dry a bit and utilized a wet on dry technique. That's when you let your painting dry a bit and then you add more paint on top. Applying fresh paint on top of dry paint can create darker tones, and it gives you much more control for sharper, more defined edges, which you'll see in a moment. Watercolor can be a little messy. I use a towel or a sponge to help adjust tones on the painting if they get too dark or if it gets too smudgy. You really don't need a lot of supplies to do watercolor painting. Just a tray of watercolor paint, some water, a few brushes, and the right paper. You could try taking a tray of watercolor paint with you into the outdoors so that you could paint something out of doors. Did you know that watercolor was a favorite medium of Scouting founder Robert Baden-Powell? He painted numerous outdoor scenes. The wetter the paper is when you make your strokes, the more the colors will spread. Watercolor paper comes in lots of different weights. The Merit Badge booklet says to try 140-pound paper with a slightly textured surface. If you plan to apply a really wet wash to your paper, then use a 300-pound watercolor paper. The thicker the paper, the more expensive it is. Thanks for watching.
That was cool.
That was awesome. One of the things that I've noticed all week long, a couple of things, it's really cool to see all these great artists, Kevin, Eric, Joey, and Daryl, I think, right? It all starts with literally like a blank canvas. Like we've heard that expression before, like a blank canvas, you know? It starts with nothing, and then after 10 or 15, 20 minutes, it just becomes over time this really cool piece of art. And also a little more literally, it almost always starts with a pencil, right? Even like the computer graphic drawing starts with a pencil sketch. And that's something that even if you haven't been drawing along with us all week long, if you've been watching and if your interest is piqued, man, grab a pencil and a piece of paper. Everybody's got that. You might not have the watercolors. You might not have Photoshop. You might not have acrylic paint, certainly things like that. But you probably have a pencil and paper. Just grab that and start drawing stuff, right? It's really cool. That seems to be like the foundation that everything else is built on.
Yeah. Well, think about what I always struggle with is, what am I going to paint? It's one, you can know how to draw or you've got your supplies, but what's your subject matter? So it's important. I was talking earlier about listening to your heart. If Godzilla is in your heart, then you can do Godzilla or whatever and that kind of thing. And that you kind of have that joy about that subject or whatever that's in your heart. And so that'll give you the energy to kind of do the drawing and explore and kind of experiment until you get it just right. So just kind of ask yourself, what do I like? What am I interested in? And that's how you kind of find your thing to paint. And obviously Baden Powell loved the outdoors, and he took his painting kit with him, and he painted a lot of outdoor scenes. And I think one of them is in the Merit Badge pamphlet.
Obviously, in your heart, the day you did that video was the famous Pokemon called, I think it's called Turtle Man or Turtle Person.
Pokemon.
Like that.
Squirtle. Pokemon is fascinating. I never understood it. I never understood Pokemon for years. It's kind of like battle pets for someone who's never experimented with it before. These cool kids. It's just it's from Japan, so it's awesome. And they have these kids collect these pets, and they have little pet battles, and it's wonderful. It's so creative and imaginative. I had no idea when my son started getting into it a little bit. I didn't understand it, but it's just so neat.
So I'm obviously not an expert Pokemon person. What was the name of that one that you drew again?
Squirtle.
Squirtle, obviously. Yes. Okay.
Squirtle.
I thought
I'm getting a lot of kids out there. Trust me.
Yeah, there are.
Kids take them really seriously.
In 2019, there were 809 Pokemon. I looked it up while we were watching that.
Wow. I figured
so that's like a lot.
1,000.
So you can't get mad at me for not knowing all their names. There's 819 of them.
Well,
how am I gonna
you would only ever had to have paid attention to Pokemon, maybe even watched one episode of the show to know Squirtle.
Okay.
He's one of the
OGs.
Fine.
Fine.
I see a few people in the comments agonizing that they feel like theirs didn't turn out great. This is my opinion of watercolor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin. I think watercolor always looks a little better if you step back. If you look at it right up close, it kind of looks abstract. I think it's just that kind of, all these media are different. And I think if you just step back, maybe you'd like what you painted more.
Yeah, watercolor is tough. And just try to keep things transparent. You can see where I was I got a little bit lost there for a while, I was trying to get some darker tones in there. It's kind of hard with watercolor to get it really dark. It's all about being real light and airy and transparent. And I was trying to get more white in there. You can't, you want to you want that paper to show through. That's kind of what you want to do. So even if you just do a couple of quick little strokes on Squirtle's head, just to add color in there, then that's fine. But you can tell I kind of got everything was a little bit too flat. I kind of painted everything light green, then I kept on trying to add more color, and it was just getting too many. It was getting a little overworked. It was getting a little muddy. These are art terms that I would have gotten from college, So
Kevin's a professional, and he even, struggled a little bit and had to go back and adjust. So if a pro like Kevin does it, it's certainly okay for you guys to do it at home. I'm sorry, Kevin, I didn't mean to interrupt. What were you going to say?
Oh no, you're doing great. Just don't be afraid to start over real quick, and just start with something simple. And it's all about just adding color to it and bringing it to life. And just don't put too much on there. Don't pile up too much paint. Watercolor is all about being transparent, and you want that paper to kind of shine through.
Yeah, Eric mentioned yesterday the idea of the white. With acrylic paint, you can paint white over things, but with paper watercolors, you can't, right? The only white is the paper. So that's kind of an interesting dilemma or challenge, right, for watercolor painting. Like you said, let that white from the paper shine through.
Yes, I agree. And you can see I came in there with a sponge. I was trying to get in there, and that's something you can always do to kind of maybe erase a little paint that way. Yeah, just get in there and try. Don't be afraid to try. And if it's not working out, take a break, let it dry for a bit, and come back later. And maybe it wasn't that bad. And then you can kind of work on it some more and just have fun and find a subject matter that really gives you joy. And then you won't be you'll turn that frown upside down, and you'll be happy, and you'll be like, this is just great, and I'm just having fun with paint.
Erin at home mentions that watercolor's her favorite, and Jean says that she did her thing, she used a bunch of colors, and then she went over it in crayon. I think that's an interesting approach. I like that.
Very cool.
I loved mixed media like that. I absolutely think it's so neat to do that, and I think that's really, really cool. You can go back with some pencil, you can erase it, and then the crayon thing would have added a really nice touch to it, I think. So that's a really great idea.
Yeah.
And I would also say for anybody who thinks that theirs didn't turn out real great, maybe it's worth reminding folks that this video is going to be on the Boys Life Facebook page once we're done here. If you want to go back and go to that part again and start over again, if you have an extra sheet of paper, if you've got more watercolors, give it another shot. Maybe you'll feel better the second time around.
Totally agreed. I love that both of you guys touched, like Aaron touched on it earlier in the week. He said, when I would draw as a kid, I would always just draw Star Wars stuff because I was obsessed with it. And Kevin, you mentioned, draw within your heart. I love that for multiple reasons. One, because you're probably really familiar with looking at these things that you're, really into. And two, I think you're willing to give it more time and attention because you really respect what you're trying to render, right?
Yes. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
You were talking about Star Wars. Oh, go ahead, Aaron. Did you have something?
Well, I was just going to say, if you're passionate about something, like when I was a kid, I was about Star Wars. Yeah, I did not mind taking a lot of time to try to make my painting or sketch or whatever it was, look as good as it could be or whatever. And I even remember learning that sometimes my X-Wings didn't look exactly like the X-Wings did in the movie, but I just made my own X-Wing. No big deal. My X-Wing, the wing on the right side was a little bit bigger than the wing on the left side, just because that's the way it turned out. That's okay. It was still cool to me.
Yeah, you and I were both Star Wars kids, original '77 Star Wars kids, and I remember when Star Wars was out at the time, there weren't any pictures of it. You'd see the movie like one time as a kid, and then you'd have to. I remember we would cut out movie adverts in the newspaper, and you put them in a folder just so you'd remember what it looked like, because for almost a year maybe there wasn't anything other than that, so you just have your memories and all that. And I remember I did a still life of my Luke Skywalker action figure, and I knew I wanted to be go into a career in art at that point, and that was cool. But yeah, just find what you're passionate about and just create. If it's Legos, if you get a box out of the garage and turn it into your airplane or whatever you're kind of into, just try.
Now, Kevin does so many pages in Boys Life. If you look at any page, he just may have had his hands on it, especially if you see a feature or something and you're like, that's some cool artwork. Kevin was involved. And in fact, so he works in watercolor is not what he does every day. He just did that as a favor to us. I don't think he does it every day, but he did design our logo up in the corner right above Aaron's head. That's just a sample of so he's still doing I think we talked about earlier in the week, a lot of these illustrators that you see work on computers a lot. So they may use their hands and do sketches here and there. Yeah, there it is.
A little bit rough, but that's okay.
They're working on computers too. Ooh, another variety.
They do. In fact, a lot of people use like a digital tablet, a Wacom tablet, and they use a little digital pen, and they create digital paint strokes and that kind of thing in the past, like what they used to do with pen and paper in the past. It's just a little bit cleaner, and it goes right into the computer, and that's how comic books are done these days, for sure. So, but it's great to kind of get messy and get some paint on your fingers and get the brushes out and make a little bit of mess too. So.
Very cool. So at the top of the show, we showed some of the art that you guys have submitted from earlier this week. We would love for you to submit what you created today, anything you created today. You can do that at go.boyslife.org/myowncomic. And I think we have a few more pieces of art to show. If not, we can look back at the ones we'd already looked at, but that's kind of become one of my favorite parts of this, seeing what you guys created at home.
All right. That's more Wolfgang.
Another auto.
Look at the eyes on that one. I know that's the way the other eyes look, but that looks like, I'd say Adriana really nailed the eyes there. That's really funny and cool.
He's goofy. He looks goofy.
Yep.
That's a great.
That's a character.
I love that.
And the shading of the nose is really good too.
Yeah.
Love that. So colorful.
Yep.
This is from Monday. We did the sketch of just a bear. He called him a bear scout. Joey called him a bear scout.
Very cool.
Symmetry. And you can definitely use it here. And he also, or she, Natalie, used a little bit of, she put her artistic flair into this one. Color-wise, design-wise. He even grew a mustache.
I love how she really made it her own. She took this creation that was out there and made it her own. Bravo.
I think she named him Grizzly Brown. That's funny.
Oh, this is great too. Again, I like all the texture in that paint. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's very cool. And I love I think it's maybe whiskers on the side of his face there. Those she really nailed that. That looks good. Or Quinn, maybe.
Quinn?
Yeah.
I love that there's a lot of artistic work going into there. Like Quinn didn't stop with the bear, did not stop with Grizz. He wanted to imagine what was Grizz looking at, and he put it in this picture, and I love that. Ice cream, obviously.
Ice cream?
And I love the outline. I love we call that line quality, where the line kind of varies a little bit. It gets thick and thin, and has that's all over the place, and that's when I love it.
I was thinking the same thing, line quality. Absolutely.
And he signed it.
That's
absolutely signed creation.
Yeah, I like it when they sign their names on it. That really seems to kind of make it official to me. I like that.
That means I'm done. I'm finished. All right. Lightsaber? What do we?
Oh.
Yeah, it could be.
There's a little story being developed there. That's cool.
Yeah. Colin signed his. It's good there.
That's a good example too of when you stand back a little bit. I mean, you see so much like variance in the lines. Like his eyebrow looks furry, and I love that.
Yep.
I love that. The canvas, I love you got your little display there. It's very cool. You really treasure what you did, and you really should. It's really, really great.
Good job, Colin.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. Now that is cool.
Wow.
Adellyn or Adellyn?
Oh, elaborate.
Looks really cool. She signed his note. She put the date on it. That's cool, because hopefully there'll be more drawings in the future. And so she'll look back at this one and go, this is my first one of 2020, maybe. What a cool owl.
I love
our viewers' skills intimidate me. They're so good.
I could never do that. Yeah.
Unique. I love the tree branch. I love like real geometric kind of ways of drawing trees and shapes and kind of turning things into little rectangles and squares. And I see just the circles and triangles and rectangles and all these really cool shapes. And I just love the wavy line on the branch that just kind of conveys the bark and the texture.
And little details like, and little details like the eyes. You've got the black pupils, but then those little white dots, like the reflection of light maybe on or something like that. That's a really cool detail.
Oh, great. You
Nice.
did the whole thing. So cool.
Yeah, very nice.
When you're as good as all of these scouts at drawing and sketching and painting, you don't ever need to buy wall art ever again. You can decorate your room, give yourself room a makeover all the time.
Don't let your parents spend any money on buying art for the wall. You just do it yourself because it looks great.
I
They'll
agree.
get a frame for you. They'll get you just a frame, and you can just put all kinds of art in there. Or get a bulletin board, just some foam cork board on your wall, and then just stick things up on there. And even the way you arrange your art on the wall kind of becomes artistic in a way too. And you can put other things up there, and that can be your big canvas. And you can put things on there that you like. Maybe if you're not really into drawing, you can cut things out of magazines and stuff, and get creative that way.
That's a good point. That's another good form of like collage where art is totally an art too, even though it's not a sketch. I love that.
That's awesome.
So just a reminder from everybody at home, we are here for the second to last day of Art-O-Ree. We painted Squirtle with Kevin with watercolors today, and we're working towards meeting requirement 4 of the Art Merit Badge. You can scroll this Facebook page to see everything else we've covered this week. Paint along, sketch along, find the schedule to include tomorrow's cool tutorial down at the URL at the bottom of the screen. Save all these sketches, show them to your Merit Badge counselor, and you have a great chance of meeting requirement 4 in the Art Merit Badge. Or maybe you're just doing this for fun and we give you a virtual high five and we encourage you to submit your artwork with us. It's pretty cool. Eric said maybe we'll put some in the magazine.
I love reader submissions. We have done a lot of that because we get so much sometimes it's hard to decide on what is we can't put it all in the magazine. And I wanted to say this about the Art Merit Badge. It's one of the easier merit badges to get. It's fun. You get to make a mess and make some memories while you create your artwork. So go for it. Go get this Art Merit Badge.
Ooh, that's good advice. I think you're the first person that's been able to give advice on the Art Merit Badge specifically. Yeah. Well, am I missing anything, guys?
I don't think so. I know we've said it a million times, but I think it's worth saying again. The best thing about art is you just get to go try, do it. It doesn't matter if you mess up. It doesn't matter if you think it looks, good or not good or whatever. The main thing is just to go out and do it. Start drawing pictures. Start with a sketch with a pencil and pen or pencil and paper if you have to, and see what happens from there. I love that sort of attitude of just, I'm going to go do it and just see what happens. I love it.
Yeah, this has been fun. Maybe we can have you back, Kevin, because that was fun. And you also know what our viewers like to draw. That's for sure.
Yeah, I hope so. Hope they're still in the Pokemon when I come back.
They are. You could just see they're demanding a Pikachu, though, next. So that could be fun.
Okay. Yellow paint.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. for a very special final Art-O-Ree.
Hi, everybody. Good job.
Bye.
Kevin.
Bye-bye.